Hello everyone, Switch here. I decided to do a review about the ending of the end, but that will include the two parts of this episode. When I first saw this episode, I was really surprised to see bringing back some of the characters, but most of all, the title itself. Okay, when I first read that, okay, this must be something very differently. Because when I saw the last final trailer of Season 9 of My Little Pony, we see, well, we're seeing that the main six were fighting against at least some kind of a beam of energy, and then the same type of energy beam was attacking both the main six and the Royal Sisters in Canterlot Castle. So I thought, could this have been Tirek or Grugar been attacking? But it confirmed to be actually Tirek all along. But itself here, the title about the name, and the synopsis of this, what I read, is a villainous alliance unleashed their unified might on Equestria. It's up to the main six to save the kingdom. And ever since the Season 9's first episode appeared, when Tirek, Kozuglo, Chrysalis, Sombra were gathered in one place by Grugar, an ancient enemy, also known as the First Emperor of Equestria. But exactly what happened? Grugar sent in the episode Frenemies his minions to find his spell was on the Mount Everhoof. But this episode reveals something both of them didn't expect to see. Grugar returns to his lair with a new artifact that he says will help them to defeat the main six and take over the kingdom. But what they didn't expect, at least what he did, they had found the bell and able to use it. But then most of all, Tirek used the bell to increase his own magic. And Chrysalis, she enhanced her own magic to be, much stronger than it before. But what most of that surprised me, Kozuglo, she used the bell on herself and turned herself to an Alicor. She was temporarily an Alicor for 2 seasons. I have no idea that Bell can actually do that. So what else can the Bell do? Oh, wow. But anyways, they find when they use the Bell against Grugar by stealing all his magic, something unexpected happened. It turns out Discord was Grugar all along. Grugar hasn't never been back, so question is, why would Discord act as Grugar as from the start until now? It did surprise me when I first saw it. Discord as Grugar? Has he even been reformed at all? Hasn't been playing with the main six and the Royal Sisters all along? But it turns out, but was a Grugar, Tirek said, that was unexpected, which surprisingly, I honestly believe that he didn't expect that to happen. But it turns out, when they drained Grugar's magic, it took his own magic as well. So Discord had to walk all the way back to Canterlot to warn Twilight and her friends and the others. And especially when he revealed that he was the one who released Tirek, Kozuglo and Sombra from their prison. Celestia and Luna was furious, mostly because of that. Even Fluttershy, she couldn't even believe it. She started to cry, believe that all the things that she had been talking about friendship lessons and has been reformed. He explains that he did this because he wants to Twilight's confident that she can rule Equestria when they was announced that Celeste and Luna were going to retire. And I can understand from his view, and he wants to make this happen, to make just... deep down I believe he was just to try to ensure Twilight that she was ready to take over and that she can do it. But from the ways he did it was way beyond that I expect to do. I mean, sure, he could do something else, but this, bringing back some of the baddest villains in Equestria's history, Chrysalis, Tirek, and Kozuglo, and Sombra, as proposing as to be Grugar? What did it go on his mind, all of this? I mean, Discord, of all the characters I thought he's going to be, I thought maybe he's bring back some of the characters, but both Tirek and all of them, and make them work together? I don't realize it. He didn't realize that they were probably work together behind his back and punish him or something like that. And he didn't expect that happened. Most of all, this episode was literally beyond anything that I expect to see when I first read the title and when I saw the episode. It was really, really epic. Not only that, seeing how much of all things that happened in the season. I cannot say how much I expect to see it. How much the Discord tried to help his friends in the cause of his own magic, and even almost lost in the cause of losing the entire kingdom to the most villainous, all of the strongest villains ever. Even seeing during a battle when they attacked the castle, all the main six, except from Twilight, managed to escape. Their friends didn't know where Twilight were. First they went back to Ponyville, but during the same time, at the beginning of the episode, Chrysalis had went to Canterlot to release. Back in the episode when they were talking to spread mishabit among the ponies, and especially back in episode 17, the summer setback, where Chrysalis had noticed how much of their problem had been parted. She noticed how much distrust there could be once again in the ponies. Back in 1,000 years ago or more, there were mistrust among the three tribes, and she thought, why not play the same card again back in Summer Sun Setback? And now she did it again. And they managed to almost do it. They managed to bring all the three types of ponies against each other. But even the main six tried to convince everyone else in Ponyville that this was something that the villains had tried to make this happen. Even the Wendigos had returned. But if it wasn't the main six, they didn't stop the Wendigos. They didn't. In fact, they went to the castle to find Twilight, but she wasn't even there. But Spike realized where she could be, and they all went to the Crystal Empire, and so far the Empire was safe. For now. And even they find that Cadance confirmed that Twilight was there, and she felt miserable. That she couldn't stop the villains from attacking Canterlot. But later, it turns out that ponies in Canterlot, in Canterlot, Ponyville, and Cloudesdale, all the three types of ponies were not trusting each other anymore, until a child from each of them, one Pegasi, one unicorn, and Earth pony. Sambar was an Earth pony, and the other two was a Pegasi and unicorn. Try to explain that friendship is what made them brought all of them together. Not only singing by songs, but they proven friendship is the most powerful magic that is. And they have been in peace with each other for over a millennia. And it has been, even that there are some mistrust among some ponies that are acting as like thieves or so, but still, there has been a large peace between all the three tribes for over a long time. So why would something that this untrusted deed make them to break apart from their friendship from they had so long? And even though the young six, the student six were also called, managed to travel back to their homelands, Ocellus managed to convince Thorax and the other changelings, and even and even Silverstream managed to convince her aunt, Queen Novo, and the other sea ponies try to help, and even Gallus, he managed to convince the other griffins. Even the Smolder managed to convince the dragons in Dragonlance with the help of Dragonlord Amber, and so on. So that when the main six were facing Tyrek in his most powerful form, and even Chrysalis and Kosuglow, without trying to take the battle from them, but it failed. But surprise enough, they had a lot of company. Not only that, they find out that Tyrek had still all the magic from the old pillars. Ralkuth returned back to his form before he was strong by magically, and even then, they were brought back with, among others. We saw among other characters, like Queen Novo was back without a speaking role, but there were other characters we didn't expect to see, and that was Tempest Shadow. She actually returned. And she was not wearing her old armor, which she used when it was in the service of Storm King. But she didn't speak. But still, even though she was back in the episode, it was just epic. I wondered, what has she been doing all the time? We know that she was back to travel to the kingdoms of telling that the Storm King was gone, and his reign was over. But most of all, seeing how all the ponies, non-ponies, griffins, hippogriffs, dragons, changelings with ponies worked together to fight against the minions, the villains, and they almost succeeded. But to the end, they actually happened something. Twilight and her friends used the elements of power, and it even increases strength from Twilight. For some reason, that effect had a very strong positive effect on the villains. Kosuglow returned back to Pegasus, and Chrysalis lost her own power, and Tyrek, he went back to his weakened form before he was all this. And even though that they were suddenly a big cupcake fall over them, it turns out Pinky had found the bell and used it, and even somehow tapped into Discord's power and used that against them, which was surprising. I mean, if they hadn't done it, they probably had run away. But I'm just glad she did use that, and that she grew in massive size. But even Discord used the bell to strain the magic from her and use it against him and restore his powers, and restore back Luna's and Celestia's power. With when Discord had in mind what to do to punish the villains once more, because they know if they return back to the Tartarus, some way they might be escape at some point again. But no, Discord had something else he planned, and both Celestia and Luna both agreed this were the most suitable punishment for the first three villains. And that was turning them all into stone, like a statue what Discord wants to be, and he helped them. And even after all of this, it was the most amazing stories. I mean, seeing how the old pillars went back returned without even a speaking role, and Queen Nova was back, even she didn't speak, and now Tempest was back, and she was trying to fight for her friends. But most of all, that Sandbar and the other two fellas managed to convince each of the tribes, or each tribe of ponies, to work together and not give up getting into this fight in the past. Not to do the same thing as their ancestors did once before. To trust each other, to work together as once they had for a millennia. If they haven't, Tyrek, Kozuglo, and Chrysalis would very much likely succeeded and punished, or perhaps even turned all the main six, Celestia and Luna, and perhaps many others, into stone. And that would be the end. But they didn't turn out as they expected to do. All that happened, it seems everything went back to normal. And now Twilight felt she was ready to be part of it. And much of their expense, all of their efforts to stop the villains from attacking. Even if that Chrysalis, that Discord, had his part of this from bringing back the villains, I don't believe he didn't expect them to go behind his back or something. He thought maybe they didn't, but they said that they failed to bring to God the Bell, I thought he maybe thought, okay, if they're going to God the Bell, maybe I have to find some other powerful item that I can use. But doing so, go behind his back, was again using the bell against them to turn him into much super strong. I don't know. But what happened to the bell afterwards? Well, it is unlikely it brings back to the... I don't think they were probably stored in a castle. I mean, if this bell is that powerful, and if Polly knows this ancient Grurgar's bell is stored in Cantal Castle, even if there are maybe 20 or 100 guards, both inside and outside the room itself, and even is magical enhanced proved, but I doubt that would even stop any pony to steal it. So the only way to have it stored somewhere, it seems the bell couldn't be destroyed. So this is very likely they stored it back into the Mount Everhoof, but this time sealed, perhaps sealed the entrance behind a rock sled, so no one would get inside, and perhaps even increase the spell of the barrier to even more. But out of all of that, I think this could have been, if the villains had managed to stop the main six, it had very much differently outcome of all of this. But I have to say, the main six were really surprised to see all their friends from Dragonlance, Rivenstone, Mount Everest, and even some others returned to help them. Even Twilight's own parents was there to help. I mean, all of their help to stop the villains from ever doing this, it was just an epic scenes. How to see some of the changelings transform into the main six to try to confuse Tyrek and the others. But to the end, it was really an amazing episode. I say that much because when I first read the title, the ending of the end, I thought, okay, it must be something very much a big epic battle in this time. But I was just happy to see all of this happen. And my rating for this episode, I had to admit, it really deserved to be an A+. It really was so much epic in it. Well, everyone, and yeah, that was my review about those two parts episode. And if you have your own thoughts or opinions about these episodes, let me know in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe, leave a comment, and as always, this is Switch Diablo, over and out.